Alright class, you can see that I have a plant here, and this is what I've been drawing. So I did it just the same as anything else. I took and I measured the spaces, and then I started paying attention to the negative space inside of these areas and drawing it out. And I'm having to do it on a smaller scale because I can show you guys in the video. Um, I'm drawing out all the spaces. I'm not drawing the lines. The line work is a contour drawing, but I'm drawing the spaces in between the fronds of this little grass plant. And I'm going to keep drawing them and filling it up. So if you look here on this sketch, let me get that here. You can see my video recording equipment a little bit. You can see it a little better there. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to fill up these spaces with the charcoal, and I'm going to keep working with the compressed charcoal and fill up every one of these tones. So I'm going to get that out and I'll show you how that works and talk to you about the compressed charcoal as well. So this is the compressed charcoal. We've been using charcoal pencil mostly. The reason why we're not using this is you can't get even of tones with it. The compressed charcoal is sort of like a pastel. Plus, it's part of this course, in a beginning drawing course, they want you to get experience with a lot of different mediums. So when you get these out of here, they're going to get all over your hands. So you're going to want to have a piece of paper towel or something, and maybe work with a shirt you don't care about as much getting dirty as much, or an apron or something. I recommend breaking the stick in half. They have these big sticks. It's hard to work with this big stick, so if you break it in half, you can work with it more effectively. A lot of people will tell you to do that. It's pretty common. And you're not working with this, but you did do the sketch with a pencil, 2H pencil. So I started sketching with a pencil. I need to finish the whole sketch. You need to finish the whole sketch before you do the charcoal. And you may want to use a tortillon to smooth out your tones, to get it even. And you're definitely probably going to want a kneaded eraser. If you remember that video, the professor at RISD told you guys you want to really knead it like silly putty. That's how it works, because it's going to get full of charcoal this way. That's normal though, and this is how it's used. Okay? When you use your compressed charcoal, you're going to want to kind of pay attention to the edges you're creating and fill them in. You can use the corners to get into those spots and fill them. While you're doing it, don't just fill it in like a coloring book, but actually pay attention to the form and try to change it if you need to at all. Like, get it accurate as you go, like a contour drawing. So you have your sketch, but then you can come back in and try to check and see if you're right when you're filling it in. Okay? You want to get into all the little ones. It's going to take some practice getting used to it, filling it in. But you can get into a lot of little shapes, actually. So I expect you to get a lot of detail. This is why you're working on your 18 by 24 paper. That way you can get a lot of detail without it having to be so small. You're going to want to work, like that. You want to do the whole page and work on it being even. So you want to even pressure to help it be even when you're working. And you're going to just fill up the page. It's going to be pretty chalky, so every now and then you might want to dust it off outside. You'll see that it builds up pretty chalky. If you make a mistake, this is why you can use the tortillon to even it out a little if you need to. Get the edges crisp. You're not going to use this though to blend in the sense of like your other value drawings where you're trying to get different tones of gray. You're just going to use it to blend if you want to. You can also roll up a paper towel. If you make a mistake, you can come in here with your kneaded eraser just like you have been doing. It's good to use it like a drawing tool when you use kneaded eraser. What I mean by that is sometimes we even do a project where you draw with your eraser. Basically shape it into the shape that works for what you're doing. So if you make a mistake, don't try to use it like a big block, but give it a little edge so it'll help you get into the details you need to do. Okay? So then once you have that done, all the line drawing done, and you're filling it up, then that'll be the end of the project, is filling it all up. And you're not just sitting there like coloring book filling it up. You're actually carefully filling it and looking at the object to see if you need to make any adjustments as you go. My main thing I'm going to say to you is, if you make a really big mistake and you don't like something and you get too close to an edge and you can't get off, you could also carefully use an X-Acto knife to pull off a little. You can cut through your paper really easily though, so I don't recommend this unless you feel comfortable. And of course, these are very sharp, so you have to use all your safety senses and skills. You don't want to use these unsafely. You have to be very safe with these. And cut away from yourself. Don't touch the end, all that stuff. But this can be a way to carve off a little extra if you're getting into some problems. Just carefully scrape the surface of the paper. The last thing I want to say to you is they do have fixatives you can use if you don't want the charcoal to smear. They come in different varieties. This is one, Blair, different brands. I like the low odor one. This is a workable one that doesn't have a shine to it. Some of them say different shines. This one says matte, workable, and final. If you use the workable one, you can spray it and then keep working on the paper. Final means you can't keep working on top of it. It doesn't have any tooth to it. So just be aware of that. It stops smudging though, so that can be a useful tool. And I just want you guys to spend a decent amount of time on this. You have 5 hours of lab time you're doing this, so you want to do good work. I believe in you. You've been doing great work, so keep going. The other thing you need to do that a lot of people haven't been doing is you need to be submitting a picture of what you're drawing. Submit a picture from your point of view. Submit a picture from your point of view. What's point of view? Your eye level, where you're sitting and how you're looking at it. Why are you doing this? Question. You should know by now, but maybe you don't. You're doing this so that I can see what you see, and that way I can give you more effective feedback. If you do that, it'll help me give you more effective feedback. Okay? So that's part of this as well. But you're going to want to take your time and use the edges and carefully go in there and get these really careful. You may not want to do something with grasses like I have here because it's a little fidgety to get these tiny little fronds, but it's up to you. I probably, on second thought, wish I did not pick something with little fronds of grass because it's making it a little more challenging to draw because there's tiny little spaces in between things. But make sure you work big. I have a kind of problem here. I haven't finished yet, but if I didn't go all the way close to the edge, I'm going to have a ton of black space around it that I have to fill up. So if you have that happen to you, you can kind of crop part of it off, like rip it or cut it and then fill up to the edge. But make sure you work really large on that 18 by 24 paper so that you don't have a problem with this. So hopefully this makes sense to you. It's pretty clear. If you work on the bigger part over here, where I'm trying to fill it up, I could work with the side of my charcoal, but you'll notice that it's not as dark at first unless I give it even pressure. When I need to fill around, I can work with the side, right? But I have to give it even pressure, otherwise I get this light issue, and I want it to be the same as all that. So if you're having a problem doing that, you can just go back to working like this with the tip so you can control the pressure better. Because you don't want these kind of weird lines in there. You want it to be an even tone. Okay? You don't want to smear too much with these guys either, the tortillons, because then you'll burnish the paper and then it'll be hard to get it even. So you really want to make sure you do it most of the work with the actual compressed charcoal. You want to do most of the work with this and control it that way. Alright guys, if you have questions, please reach out. There's lots of ways I can be contacted. Pronto, email, messaging. I feel like a lot of you have not been looking at your assignment comments and you've been wondering about things. I leave pretty extensive comments on most of your assignments about what you can do to improve data voice recordings and things like that. So please look at those. I'm not just doing it for my own benefit. I'm doing it for you. If you don't look at them, then you're missing out on a lot of feedback. So you need to be doing that. Some people have been kind of contacting me and wondering what's going on. And I'm like, did you look at that yet? Did you listen to it? Oh, no, not really. Well, then no wonder you don't know why I'm grading something a certain way. So you really do need to pay attention to the feedback that you've been getting. Okay? You're doing great. You're a good class. I think you can do great work. So keep up the good work. I know it's challenging. Sometimes it's challenging to learn remotely, and also it's challenging in general to draw. So you just have to keep taking breaks and being kind to yourself. And then the main thing as ever is to really pay attention and look at what you're drawing more than your charcoal pencil, your pencil, or whatever else you're using, and just help your eye, actually not help it, rest into it and just let your eye see and let your hand move. Don't overthink it. Just look for the shapes and let your brain, the other side of your brain that we don't always want to use, take over so that you can stop thinking, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? And you can start seeing the object and just tracing the edges and seeing the spaces. It's pretty complicated in a way to switch your brain around like this to see the spaces, but because we think, oh, there's nothing there. Well, there isn't anything there, but it is a shape, right? So you can tell right here, this is a shape. It has a shape to it. If I try to poke into it, there's nothing there, but you can observe that shape. And that's what we're doing in these drawings. I'm observing those shapes and putting them down on paper. All right? All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you soon.